Hi everybody, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you for joining us today. Now the topic today is about money, and it's a topic that I know a lot of people are sensitive about and don't really want to talk about, but it's one of the things I think is very important as you get a little older. Now, women tend to live longer than their partners, and a lot of women are living on their own, and we have to think about our financial future. And as we get into our 60s, 70s, and 80s, we may have many, many years ahead of us, and we need our money to stretch as far as it can. And so we need to start establishing some really good habits, some good financial habits early on, and some things that you can do to kind of, be informed. And if you don't have the answers yourselves, to know where to go to get them. So, I think men and women have a very different view about money. And, men, for example, will look at the numbers. They'll look at, the simple, how much you've got in the bank, how much you've saved. It's the number. But women do tend to imbue money with something a little bit more emotional, and it's more value driven. And I think that's really important. I think it's more aligned to concepts like freedom and independence and nurturing, taking care of others, like using your money to support your value systems. And so that can get you into difficulties if you're not really, really clear about how much you've got to spend, how much you've got to work with, and that your generous nature maybe is, just getting you into difficulty. But I think it's important, to know these 7 things I'm going to talk about that you need to know about with money, and how to align them in a way that's going to give you the freedom and the independence that you need, and by looking at both the values and the numbers. Now, we get conflicting, messages all the time as we approach retirement and look at our savings. Should you pay off your mortgage, or should you save? Should you invest in bonds or stocks? There's so many different angles and ways you can go. Maybe you've not really saved a lot. Maybe you're really in a situation where you are truly going to be on a budget and having to live within your means. And you can live okay on a retirement budget if you just, position yourself in the right places and shop in the right in the right way. So, one of our bloggers, Lisa Dunkel, wrote a series of articles on living like a millionaire on a retirement budget. And that's actually, I think, a really useful way of looking at this. You can do things, but you have to be very careful, and your money has to be, you have to know where your money is going. So that's the second thing. First of all, it's like, what values does it align with? And secondly, where is it going? And the statistic was really interesting when I read that 61% of women say that they would rather talk about death than money. And this is the reality of an emotional subject like this. Mastering the art of spending, like where your money's going. Now, most money, of course, is going to your basic needs, your shelter, your home, your food, your, living utilities, living expenses. But if there's a little bit left over, or you've got savings, where is that going to go? Are you going to spend it on travel, on luxuries, on makeup, on cruises? Are you going to spend it on things? So you have to really be very careful that you understand where your money is going. And if you're using credit cards, that's a super easy way to overspend. So maybe, that's one thing to look at too, is where your credit card expenses are going, because that's kind of painless. Like, you don't even feel that being taken out of your life, and then suddenly you're not caught up. So get some help if you need it to clarify how you're spending your money. The next thing that you need to know is where you want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. What do you actually want from your life? And I think this is a really complicated one, because as we get older, I think our desires, well, a lot of people are doing more simple lifestyles, so we're not buying as much stuff, but maybe we want to give more to our grandchildren, or give to our children, or anyone else that is, in that value chain that we really feel is important. And so it's basically knowing where you want to be. What are you willing to forego? What you have to forego in order to be in a situation in your 80s or 90s where you're living independently, or you're living in a place that you want to be. I think that's really important, thinking of the long-term picture. Another thing that's important for you to know is the risk involved in where your money is and how you're investing it. It's really a complicated one, and you might want to reach out to a friend or a family member or someone that understands this better than you, because by the time you get to be in your 60s and 70s, you probably don't have, if you already don't have it, you probably don't have a really good understanding of what risk involves in investing your money. A 3-year plan, maybe it may be okay to keep your cash in the bank, to keep cash. But if you're talking about a 10-year plan, then you really should be talking about stocks And and I know this is like a really delicate one given all these changes in the world and inflation and everything else, but if you want to think about the long term and have your money grow, then putting it in the bank isn't going to help. You're going to have to put it into stocks. And that's actually where the next point about that you need to know about money comes in. And that is, if you need help, if you don't understand the stock market, if you don't understand investments, get some help and get a financial advisor who is a fiduciary advisor. Not all financial advisors are fiduciaries, and ask them, are you a fiduciary? And a fiduciary is basically a person who charges you by the hour for their advice. They don't charge you, they don't sell you things and make a commission from the annuity or from the insurance or whatever that they sell you. So a financial advisor is driven by a commission usually, and that's a little bit of a warning sign right there. If you haven't got a lot, or if you are really only wanting to put it into something that's going to help you. And so fiduciaries are pretty much focused and dedicated to helping you with your planning, not necessarily with your, your kind of emotional, and they're not trying to sell you anything. They charge you for their time and their knowledge, and that's it. So most important thing is do your research. Whether you can do it on your own by simply Googling and binging and the answers, do it. If you can't, get some help. Get a fiduciary financial. I think there's also, another thing to know about money is your financial planning for the future. You need a will, power of attorney, and a living will for end-of-life planning. You need these things in a safe place so that your children, your people that are going to look after you afterwards are aware. They know where everything is. That's super important. So that long-term financial plan should include those things that I mentioned. The final thing is that you are worth this. Whatever emotional challenge you have with money, you are worth making this investment in yourself. I know it's hard. I know that there's lots of places that your money can be used and be of value, but you have got to start taking yourself seriously. We take advantage, we take care of our children. We take, our values overshadow us sometimes in who we want to help, but it's really must be for you. You've got to start thinking about yourself and prepare for the unexpected. It's almost certain that it's going to happen. Something that you didn't expect will happen, and you'll need that money. So it is financial planning, financial security is self-care. Look at it that way. You're taking care of yourself. Everyone's going to be fine. They've got their lives to live. Everyone's going to be okay. They'll get through just the way that you have. But right now, you've got to think about the future in a very, not a selfish way, but well, it is selfish in the sense you've got to put yourself first and make the plan for the long term. Lots and lots of thoughts, but I hope this has been useful for you. I know that this is not a topic, as I said, 61% of you would probably prefer to talk about something else, but it's important, I think, that you reach out, and there is help for you if you need it, and just have to do your research and be careful and enjoy, the simple things. I mean, I think for me, that's been the biggest lesson in my downsizing and just simplification, is knowing that the greatest joy doesn't necessarily come from a bouquet of flowers. It comes from a daisy. One little flower, one perfect thing. It's not coming from, a new car, but it's maybe taking a train and going somewhere and just getting out and knowing that you've traveled to another place and it's beautiful and you're going to explore. And it isn't an expensive dress or a coat. It's a little t-shirt or a scarf or a hat that you found at a charity shop that maybe has a brand label on it that someone has passed down to you, and that you know that you paid $1 for a $20 hat. You just wear it with joy, or you put a brooch on it because it makes it special. These are all the things you can do, and I encourage you to think with that mindset and try to put yourself ahead of everything else just right now. Okay? Take care of yourself. This life is for you. Take good care, everybody. I really do appreciate you on so many levels. Thank you for your support and for your love, and take care of yourself. Please let that be your gift to me. I'm by your side. Take really good care. Bye-bye for now.